Hey everybody, welcome back if you're returning, welcome if you're new. And we have talked a lot about energy today, energy this week, and today for me, this week for the videos. But I wanted to just kind of wing this one, and we're going to talk about 6 ways that you can protect your energy. And one of them is to develop routines. This is especially important when you have children, you're on a schedule, and I know when my son was young, I was a single mom, I had to get myself ready, get him ready, have the diaper bag ready, get him to the babysitter, and all of that before my work day started. And that can be crazy making when you're on a schedule. You don't have time to waste. You have to be at point A at this time to make it to point B by this time, and anything that interferes in between could completely throw everything off. You're either late to the sitter and then late to work, or, and it's that urgency and that stress when you roll out of bed with that, starter pistol feeling of, and so it begins, and you just rush to try and get through everything. That starts your day off in a way where you've already spent so much energy, and God forbid you have to look for things, you can't find the baby formula, you don't know where the diapers went, you swore they were over here, and the whole time your brain's whirling because tick tock, you're running out of time. So what I found worked well for me was developing routines where when my son was an infant, I would have everything ready for the morning. I'd do it in the evening when there was more downtime. Even though I was at the end of my day, I was tired, and yes, I would have loved to just sit down and let tomorrow happen. I'm a firm believer in being kind to future you. Future me didn't want to run all over the house under the gun trying to find all the stuff for the next day, so we developed nighttime rituals where I would make sure that everything that I needed for him was set out, his outfit, the diaper stuff, the bottle for the car on the way to the sitter in the morning. All of that was there in the same place at the same time every night, ready to go for the next day. I would pick out my outfit for the next day, make sure my lunch was packed and ready to go, so that the next morning, pretty much everything we had to do other than putting the clothes on and getting out the door was ready. It was going to be smooth. And then nighttime routines, because our bodies respond well to routine. If you have the same routine of an evening, it works for your children, it works for adults. If you do the same steps in a row every night, it tells your brain, hey, we're getting ready for bed. It's going to be time to sleep. It's a wind down. So after dinner, he'd get to play for a little bit while I was gathering everything up for the next day, get him his bath. The bath is relaxing, and then we'd read a couple books, brush your teeth, go to bed. And that can set the brain to understand that we're going to bed now. So instead of laying down in bed, just like running around the house, doing last minute stuff, and then falling in bed, and your brain is still on overdrive, you've given it this routine where it shuts down. Well, once I got him in bed, then I would read for a little bit, brush my teeth, wash my face, go to bed, and I always have preferred to have a little bit of space in the morning. I'm not a person who wakes up out of bed ready to take on the day's challenges. That takes a minute. So I always allowed myself an extra 30 minutes of just space to get myself together, get awake, have some coffee, just be still. No demands. Settle into the day. And that starts your day on such a calm note. You're not rushed, you're not having to do anything immediately after you get out of bed. You give that space. Or if you do have things you have to do immediately, you do those things and you still have that time to sit down and kind of recalibrate before you have to run out the door to begin the rest of your day. Declutter. This is such a powerful thing in so many ways because we don't realize that the more things there are around us to look at, the busier our mind is, and we can't relax because too much is grabbing our attention. If there's dishes in the sink and mail laying on the counter and clothes laying over here and this stuff's all out of whack and everything's grabbing your attention, or even in the way that we decorate our homes, we need space. So if you have a wall that's covered with all different pictures, that's a lot. Now if the pictures are all like the same color scheme, you know, they don't really pop and stand out and grab your attention, it can be soothing. But so many times you walk into a home and there's this wall of just random, all of it's colorful, and all of a sudden you feel dizzy because it's just too much for your brain to absorb. How we organize and decorate our environment can actually help to either add to or decrease our anxiety and the mental stimulation. The colors you use, the fabrics you use, the spacing of your furniture, how things flow, all of that affects how we feel in our home. And if there are things about your space that cause you to feel unsettled, or where you don't feel like you can relax, look at those things. See what you can do to address it. Is your furniture too big for the room so you just feel crowded? You know, donate something to charity or sell it on Facebook or whatever, but open up some space. And you'll be surprised because when you walk into that room, when it doesn't feel so full, it'll be easier to relax. And not having so many things grabbing your attention, and again, being kind to future me. Unless I am just like absolutely completely zapped and out of energy, because you have to respect that part of you too, I will not go to bed with dishes in the sink. I'm not going to leave today's mess for tomorrow me to clean up, because that can just get cumulative. Tomorrow will have its own messes, so I want to kind of tie up today with a neat little bow and be done with it, and have tomorrow prepped and ready to roll before the alarm clock goes off. And that's that part of like getting organized, where create a station where all of the stuff that you need in the morning to leave your house is there. Whether it's that we have a cabinet in the kitchen that's like the, I don't know, the launch pad, you know, lunchbox, keys, anything that's going to leave the house with you is there the night before. And it's ready to go, and you know it's there. So the next morning, you don't have your lunchbox, but you can't find your keys because you dumped them on the coffee table in the living room, but right now you can't remember that because you just did it when you walked in. Or they're still in the front door, where you turned the key and opened the door and left it there, and it's been there all night, and now you're running around the house and your keys are right outside the door, hanging out the lock. By doing these things the night before, you're being so good to future you. And that morning transition time, at least for me, because we have a different mentality in our home than we have in our place of employment. It's different aspects that we're using. And having a little transition time is very calming. And again, you don't use all that energy of just getting up, worked up, and spending half your day's allotment of energy just getting out of the house, chasing the kids around, trying to make sure, Mom, I can't find my shirt. Have you seen my blue shirt? Because if you did it the night before, they found their blue shirt, they're wearing it, and that leaves you more time if you have to drag them out of the bed and roll them into the bathroom, because If you have a teenager, it can very much be like that. I did that with my son more than once. I took him bedding and all and dragged him down the hallway and rolled him into the bathroom. I'm like, "You're up now." Every day has its own demands, and the more that we are good to ourselves by preparing for it, the more we protect our energy and we don't leave the house already crazy before our day is really started. And like the taking space, the time in the morning, you may have times throughout the day where there are extra demands on you. Whether it's you're giving a presentation at work or you have to run extra errands after work, but there's going to be something more than your normal. Try to space things out to where you give yourself a break. After something that's very demanding, like if you are in charge of scheduling the meeting, and you schedule it before lunch because that'll give you that lunch space to decompress. Or you have to run errands after work and you know that you're going to be hard pressed for time to get home and cook dinner, plan ahead for those nights. We're going to talk about nutrition too, but something that is very easy to do, if you're going to cook dinner anyway, double it up. I like to meal prep, and that way we've always got something that's ready to eat, even if we don't have the time or energy to invest in it. And that way we're still maintaining our nutrition level without increasing our insanity level. So I'll buy ingredients to make 2 of the same meal, prep them and cook them both at the same time. And one of them we'll eat that night, and the other one I'll put in storage containers in the freezer. And I'll do that for several weeks with different meals. And then we've got a stash of ready-to-eat meals that if for some reason something comes up, we don't get home in time to cook dinner, or one of us just isn't feeling well, whatever the case may be, we're also at that stage where our parents need more of our help, and so if we have to go after work and take care of something, we come home, there's already food. I was cooking anyway. I just cooked 2. It's already good to go. If you're going to prep 1, it doesn't take that much more time to just double it up and prep 2. And then a week later, when you come home and the last thing you want to do is cook, when we've had a long day and you don't want to cook. So you stop at McDonald's, everybody eats junk food, and we're only now beginning to be made aware of how damaging the chemicals and preservatives and food substitutes and all the things that are in, I almost hate to call it food, but the things that have crept into our diet over the years and how damaging it can be to our bodies. And so if you want to run at your optimum energy, you gotta feed your body what it can use and what it needs to have the energy. And it's so tempting, out of convenience, to grab a bag of chips. It's already packaged. Well, so is an apple. Nature packaged it for us. We don't even need a Ziploc baggie for it, and it'll stay good for hours. And these are things, again, I have disciplined myself over the years because I ate a trash diet and didn't understand why I didn't feel well, and started researching nutrition and realized that I'd been poisoning myself for years. Of course I didn't have any energy, but once we've fed our body correctly to have the energy, once we use the energy, then we have to rest our body adequately. There again, it can be tempting because it's been a long day, we just want to unwind, and there's a show we'd like to watch before we go to bed, or we want to finish this last chapter of the book, or, I'll just go ahead and do this last load of laundry. And then we've borrowed that energy from the next day, and we find ourselves tired, and we're not performing at our best. We're more edgy, we're more emotional, and it's because the energy that we need to get through the next day, we used to stay up late last night, or because we didn't fuel our body adequately. Now we're hangry, and everything's on our last nerve, and it's things like that. We don't really think about it when we think about protecting our energy. We have to provide what we need for energy, or we don't even have anything to protect. We've got nothing to worry about because it's already shot from the jump. So, the final thing, number 6, say no. Practice it right now. No. No. And this goes back to that sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. When your boss comes up to you 30 minutes before you're supposed to leave the office, you know your evening requires X amount of time to wrap up with a bow and protect your energy for the next day, and he really needs you to stay over and work on this project. It's due tomorrow. The guy that was supposed to finish it was out today. You're the only other one in the department that could finish this. That's a you problem, not a me problem. That's hard. It's hard. We've been conditioned not to say no to authority figures, and that our employer is an authority figure, but this is a business partnership, and there's a contractual agreement about what's expected of me. That's outside my job description, and sorry, bucko, but I got shit to do. No. You're on your way home. Your friend calls you. Oh my God, can you stop and pick up this thing? Because I don't have time, and I need it, and... Well, that depends. Do you have time? Because, gotta love them. Some friends, absolutely. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it because you know if you called them and said, oh my God, can you stop and pick up this thing? They would. But if this is like Catastrophe Karen, who calls you once a week with all of her slop that she didn't get taken care of, and sucks away your time, and then you end up rushing when you get home, that's a no. That's a no. Sorry, Karen, it sounds to me like you're going to have to get shit together because you're not going to tear mine apart because you don't know how to function. So, and that one I'll cover real quick. I'm trying not to drag these videos out too long. So, but I did want to share, like, that madness, that craziness is where the cover of the Get Your Shit Together book came from. I went through every day, and my brain felt like that. Every day. Because I wasn't protecting my energy. I wasn't being kind to future me. I was just stumbling around with no plan. And very much as you would expect, no plan comes together like you had no plan. And it seemed like absolute chaos until I started getting in these routines, getting organized, finding out that, hey, if I streamline this part of my life, this part runs so much smoother, and I'm not in crazy mode all the time. And then it's something that you have demonstrated for your children. So they naturally grow up with their shit together because they watched it work well for you. And that's why I wanted to do kind of a touch base on protecting your energy. Be good to you. Be kind to you. Don't let yesterday's shit fall over in tomorrow. And don't borrow from tomorrow to take care of today's shit. Because either way, you've run energy from one to the other, and you're going to shortchange somewhere. There are times when it just happens. We can't control it. Something out of the blue comes up, and there's not much we can do about it. And that's when we have to kind of step back and look ahead and think, okay, this was crazy, but 2 days from now, I can probably take the afternoon off and get some rest. You know, look ahead and start thinking, how am I going to balance this out? Because we have got to keep ourselves in balance. And we've been trained not to balance. We've been trained to overgive, overdo, overaccomplish, that it's admirable to push ourselves to the brink of exhaustion. Listen to any group of adults standing together, having their competition, verbal competition about whose life is busier and crazier. Like we're going to get a badge of honor for it, or a medal. And it's like, that's going to get you a tombstone. It's what that's going to get you. If not, a seat in the psych ward. So instead of taking pride in craziness, we pride ourselves on our ability to maintain our sanity by protecting our energy. So I hope that helps. I will talk to you soon. Have a fabulous day.